Dillian the Body Snatcher White here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Right, first of all, I hope you're all doing fan-dabby-dozy. Now, before we get into Dillian Whyte being suspended for 28 days and the whole controversy that seems to be surrounding that, especially on Twitter, I don't know why people are copying me on that one. First of all, just to address everybody who's asking me how Dillian Whyte's doing, he's doing absolutely fine. He's dropped me a couple of voicemails. He's in good spirits. He's looking forward to the rematch on November 21st. I spoke with his brother, Dillian Whyte, 4 or 5 days ago, something like that, and we had like a 20-minute conversation. Dillian's fine. He's looking forward to the rematch, okay? Now, the 28-day suspension, this comes from the British Boxing Board of Control. Now, although they may have only released that information a day or so ago, that's not when it starts from, okay? The 28-day suspension started from the day after the fight. So it's now Sunday, 3 weeks later. So 21 days have already passed. So it just means that he can't do any kind of fighting for the next 1 week. And that includes sparring and that as well. But Dillian Whyte, he hasn't been doing any of that kind of stuff anyway, regardless of the fact that he's in Portugal. So technically, I suppose if he really wanted to, he could, because he's kind of out of the jurisdiction of the British Boxing Board of Control, I would presume. But he hasn't been, and I would probably say that he's not likely to be in the next week or so. Now, where the controversy comes from is, in my opinion, especially on Twitter, which seems to be quite a toxic place lately, I don't know why, but people are saying, well, why is it that Dillian Whyte's only got 28 days, but Anthony Joshua, he got longer than 28 days. More recently, Dex Spellman, he got the maximum 45 days, and quite a few other fighters get longer than what Dillian Whyte has, when Dillian Whyte had a more, let's be honest, a more brutal stoppage than what they did. Because Dillian Whyte, he went down, he was momentarily out, these guys got stopped on their feet, okay? Now, okay, I understand what it is that people are saying. How the fight ended, of course, they're complete polar opposites. In my opinion, I do feel that Dex Spellman, I think his fight with Anthony Yard got stopped a little prematurely by the referee. I think the referee was looking to stop that fight for whatever reason it is, probably a BT Sport bias, but hey, it is what it is, it happens all the time. But I could see that the stoppage was about to come anyway. But here's the difference. When Dillian Whyte fought Alexander Povetkin, the only real punch that I think really landed on Dillian really was the one that stopped him. The rest of the fight, the only person who took a sustained beating was Alexander Povetkin. When people want to go back to the Dex Spellman-Anthony Yard fight, Dex Spellman took a beating. Anthony Joshua against Andrew Ruiz Jr. Anthony Joshua took a beating. So there is the difference, okay? You need that longer time to recover if you sustain a beating. It's not how the fight ends, it's how the fight took place. But again, granted, there is some grey areas. I mean, you could get your backside handed to you through the entire fight, get bounced up and down at the canvas, your eyes all swollen up, your nose is broken, but yet you end up winning the fight by one punch knockout, for example. You will not be suspended because you won the fight. So yes, there's some grey areas for that one, that's for sure. But that's the reason why, because Dillian, he never got beat up in that fight. He got hit with one shot, he went down, he was momentarily out, he got back up again, he was fine, he was smiling, everything was fine. Other than the fact that, well, in fact, the only thing that would probably really hurt was the fact that his ego was probably hurt, right? Anything else was fine. He was fine, his senses were all there. And besides, those who want to talk about others getting 45 days, Dillian Whyte only getting 28 days, doesn't really matter how you look at it. Dillian Whyte is going to be fighting Alexander Povetkin on November the 21st. So even the 45-day period one would make no difference. It really makes no difference whatsoever. And these people who want to perpetuate this kind of situation like it's a problem, I think people are, don't get me wrong, I think some people may be concerned about it for sure, but other people just have a real agenda hatred towards Dillian Whyte because he's Matchroom, because he's Dillian Whyte, I don't know. But I think that's the reason why, because in truth, whether it's 28 days or 45 days makes no difference. Really doesn't, because he's not going to be fighting Povetkin within that period anyway. It just means that that's the extra couple of weeks that he can't do sparring. But he won't be doing sparring anyway. Dillian doesn't really do sparring until the last several weeks of camp. He doesn't open up his camp and start sparring straight away. That's not what he does. He does training. He strategizes. He gets fit. He loses weight. That's what he does. And the sparring comes later in the camp. So even if it was 45 days, makes no difference. So this story is really a non-starter. Okay, just perpetuated by those who have some kind of moral high ground, for example, or some people may be concerned, as I said, but some people just have a real dislike for Dillian Whyte. That's why I think that some people are making something out of nothing. 28 days, 45 days, makes no difference between Alexander Povetkin defeating him to the rematch, 12, 13 weeks. You can quite happily slot in a 45-day suspension if you really wanted to. Makes no difference. All right? Anyway, drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all in the next video.